When asked to swap two numbers in C, many students usually think they have the right function while they are doing it all wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you how to swap two numbers in C. So let's start with, let's see, you have A, which is equals to A equals to 4, and you have B, and B will be 6. Okay. Now, what happens? We want to swap A and B such that A becomes 6 and B becomes 4. So here's the function. Okay. Now we start with the first function, which we're going to call void swap by value. In this function, you're going to need two parameters. You're going to need two integers. That will be A and B. You can call them like that, no issue. Second thing that happens usually, what you can still do, in order to swap both numbers, you will need another temporal function that you can just call intemporal. Now, what do? We have, let's see, A temporal equals to A. You have A equals to B, and then temporal, and then B equals to temporal. What happens here? What happens here is simply this function creates a clone box which is going to attribute A and call it 4, another clone box B and call it 6, then a temporal equals to A. That means this temporal will become 4, you see. And then what happens next is that now you have A equals to B. That means our A now be equals to, what's the value of B? 6. And then you have B equals to temporal. So B equals to, what's the value of temporal? 4. You see. So here's what happened in this function. But the problem with this function is that this particular step only happened for this clone, for this clone numbers, for this clone box that was created for these integer values. This function does not affect the main. I'm going to show you how I run the function and how the functions behave. Understand? I'm going to show you how, when I run the function and how they behave. So this function here does not affect the main function. Understand? It just creates some clone address in memory where it attributes these numbers and then nothing happens here. So let's try and print. Let's print something. Print F in swap by value. And A equals to percentage T, comma, B equals to percentage T, comma, A, comma, B. I will close it here. Okay, so that's it. This is the first function. I know the majority of students mostly use this function when they are asked to swap. And then we are going to use the second function, which will need pointers. I hope you have some basic knowledge of pointers, but even if you're not well versed in pointers, it's not a problem. We want to explain it in such a way that you can easily understand. So the second function, we are going to call it void swap by reference. Okay, void swap by reference. Here we are still going to need two parameters, but here now, instead of using integers values, we are going to use integers pointers. So let's see, int okay. So star A is used to define a pointer. Understand? Star A is used to define a pointer. That means we are going to have star A, and this star A is going to point to this box in memory. That means it's going to point to the address of A in memory. The same thing for star B. star B is going to point to the address of B in memory. Understand? So the value of star A in memory will be this number directly in the memory. Understand? That's the difference between this and this. So what happens next? We are going to need a temporal variable still that we are going to call int temp. What happens next? We are going to have temporal equals to star A semicolon. We are going to do star A equals to star B. Then we are going to have star B equals to temporal. What happens here? What happens here is temporal. Now, the value to which this pointer A points to. You understand? The value to which this pointer A points to is 4. So our temporal here becomes 4. You understand? Now, the value to which this points to is 4 now. But here, when we say star B equals to star A, what happens is that the value attributed to star B, which is 6, now comes here and, how can I say it? The value here comes here and then erase, this 4 is erased and then replaced by 6 in memory directly. So this affects, this particular function affects the main. I'm going to print the result and then we'll run it and see how the result comes out at the end. So we are going to have print f in swap by difference. You have A equals to percentage A, comma B equals to percentage D, comma star A, star B. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to run the main function and from my phone, and then you're going to see the result together. So that's it for the swapping algorithm. Let's go look at the function. Okay, so now here's the code. Here's the block of code. As you can see it's nearly all the same. So here's the block of code. This is our main function here. This is our main function. What I want to also make you understand is this star A, we could actually stay even star Q or even star B, and this int A in the void swap by value, you could say int C and int D. It does not really matter which we want to use there. Just I wanted to use some variables such that you are going to really understand the difference, what's actually really happening in these different swap functions. So let's go back to main. Okay, so here is my main function. We have int A equals to 4 and B equals to 6. So we define A as 4 and B as 6. We have our first swap by value A equals to, swap by value A and B. That means the value of A here will be 4 and the value of B here will be 6. We can change them. We can change them anyhow. You can change them, no issue. I'm going to run it 2 times and then I'll change them so you can really see how it affects it. Here we have ampersand A. Ampersand A here refers to the memory address of this A. You understand? Ampersand B is the same thing, refers to the memory address of this B. We use ampersand here because the variable we pass in this swap by reference function are pointers. So we could not come and pass values. We could not come and pass values here while we are using pointers in our function. So we have this. Let's run it together and see what it is. Okay, so here's what happened. In swap by value, we have A equals to 6 and B equals to 4. You see, it actually swapped. But now in main, because this came before this, now in main A equals to 4, B equals to 6. You can see that in main the function has the values has actually not been swapped. Everything is just the same thing. Now in swap by reference, we have A equals to 6 and B equals to 4. The value got swapped. Now in main, look very well now in main here. In main here, you can see that A equals to 6 and B equals to 4. So the swapping actually affected also the main function. And this is the error many students do. They don't consider the fact that when they are asked to write a swap function, the function should affect even the main. So let's try and change this. Let's change this into, let's say A equals to what? A equals to 100. equals to what? B equals to 49. Okay, so here we have it. A equals to 100, B equals to 49. Same thing, 1. Okay, you can see now. In swap by value, we have A 49, B 100. Actually swap, but in the mean, A goes back to 100 and B goes back to 49. While in the swap by reference, we have 49 and 100, and in the mean is still 49 and 100. So what I want to make you understand here is that when you're asked to swap two numbers, when you're asked to write a function to swap two numbers, you need to understand that the swap by value does not affect the main function. So a function seems to be correct at the moment, but it is not actually that correct. You see, a function seems to be correct in the moment, but it's not actually that correct. And so the correct function to use there is the function swap by reference, where you, instead of passing values, you pass instead parameters. You pass instead instead by reference. That means you pass using functions. Okay, so I have a small exercise for you that you can write in the comment section. Please do tell me what will happen if I print temporal in the swap by value, in the swap by reference, and in the main function. What's going to be the different values of temporal in these different functions? Write the answer in the comment section. I'll pass and verify whether you're correct or wrong, and I'll respond to your comment to let you know. Okay, so this is Comsey William, and until we meet again, stay curious. Don't forget, we have a Telegram group. We have a CSC Telegram group. I'm going to leave the link in the comment section, and if you want to join, it's free of charge. Until we meet again, stay curious.